Hello, you're watching Headlines. I'm Anastasiya Lavrina. The Caspian Sea, once one of the world's largest inland bodies of water, has been experiencing significant shrinkage in recent decades, with profound ecological, economic and social consequences for the surrounding regions. This alarming trend was among the key subjects of discussion during the 29th Conference of the Parties on Climate Change, COP29, held in Baku, and is currently being reflected upon during the Sustainability Week in the United Arab Emirates, which will last until January 18. The Abu Dhabi Sustainability Week 2025 also features a special session on this issue with the participation of the leaders of Central Asian countries. And more on this issue, we will talk with our special guests now. Joining me is Vadim Nii, environmental lawyer, director of the Socia-Ecological Fund, initiator of the Save the Caspian Sea campaign, and Anel Bersinbay, PhD candidate, Eurasian National University. Dear experts, warm welcome to our program today. And Vadim, let me start with you. So, the Aral Sea and the Caspian Sea are two large bodies of water located in Central Asia and the Caucasus, respectively. Although these two seas are located in different geographical areas and have no natural hydrological connection, their ecosystems, as well as the process of changing the water level, may be similar due to the impact of human activity. At one time, the drying up of the Aral Sea had severe consequences. Should we expect a repeat of the situation with the Caspian Sea?
Okay, good afternoon. Thank you very much for having me for today's program. Of course, the Caspian Sea crisis shows parallels to the Aral Sea collapse. And the Caspian Sea is definitely at a great risk as the sea level surpassed the last year the historic lowest recorded level of 1977. It was 29 meters below the ocean level, and now it's even more. And months ago, I traveled at the delta of the Aral River to the Caspian Sea. Despite the severe floods in Kazakhstan last year and the high level of the river inflow on Aral amounted to 60.7 cubic kilometers, I observed huge sandbanks on the river, which didn't exist in the recent past. And also, despite the efforts taken by our Ministry of Water Resources on diversion of some of the flood waters to the Caspian Sea, the current studies also indicate the Caspian Sea level could drop by up to 18 meters, shrinking its area by over 25% by the end of the century. So the evidences that the Caspian Sea is shrinking have been monitored and recorded. They are easily visible in Aral and at the delta of the Aral River. And the future of a climate-induced future is predictable with some uncertainty, of course, but still it's reliable data to declare the current crisis of the Caspian Sea similar to the tragic fate of the Aral Sea. Though the drivers are more complex on the Caspian Sea, the Aral Sea disaster was caused by extensive water diversion for irrigation. It led to the ecosystem collapse and the fragmentation of the sea into lakes. The Caspian faces both from natural and human-made factors. So it's climate change, but also our use of the water, which leading to the current situation with the drop of the level of the Caspian Sea. Thus, the coordinated and action and transparency among the bordering nations as well as corporations is critical to safeguard its future.
Very interesting. So, Anel, what's your opinion about this issue? Could the Caspian Sea face an ecological catastrophe similar to the one that happened to the Aral Sea? And my next question to you also, what are the primary drivers of the Caspian Sea's shrinkage? Maybe climate change, water management practices, or any other human activities?
Actually, the drying up of the Aral Sea is one of the most well-known environmental disasters of the 20th century. Excessive diversion of water from its feeding rivers, Amur Darya and Sir Darya, for irrigation purposes, caused the sea to shrink drastically. And this led to very catastrophic consequences of biodiversity, economic decline, health crises, and climate impact. The Caspian Sea is a different case, but with very concerning scenario. The Caspian Sea is the largest enclosed inland water body, and it faces its own challenges. While its water level in fluctuations historically, it was influenced by natural climate cycles. For today, human activities are becoming the very critical and very crucial factors. We should state such factor as oil and gas exploration, which is very significant. It contributes in environmental degradation. A river flow reduction, as major rivers feeding the Caspian, like for example the Volga, are increasingly used for agricultural, industry and hydropower. To prevent a similar fate for the Caspian Sea, the international cooperation should be considered, and sustainable practices such as regulating industrial activities, reducing water diversion and product diversity are very key measures. We should consider climate change, water management practices, and other human activities.
Vadim, on the official website of a civic movement, Save the Caspian Sea, it's mentioned that the challenges facing the Caspian Sea are immense, but they are not beyond resolution. Quite optimistic. So, given the urgency of the situation, what are the most pressing actions that need to be taken, let's say, in the next 5 or 10 years to ensure the sustainability of the Caspian Sea?
Thank you for the question. I think what is the most important at the moment is the regional cooperation of the countries bordering the Caspian Sea, because we are the countries and the nations which will suffer the most of the crisis of the Caspian Sea. And then it means that we should use the regional collaboration as essential for addressing shared challenges. Yeah, and that should address the managing the impacts of oil extraction, improving transparency, coordinated efforts on climate adaptation, a collaboration action backed by transparency and accountability, we consider the only viable path to protecting the Caspian Sea. And of course, we have in place the Tehran Convention, which provides an international legal framework for the environment protection of the marine environment of the Caspian Sea, but even some land-based activities, as it deals also with land-based sources of pollution. But it's lacking the stricter enforcement and broad scope to address the industrial activities, including oil and gas extraction. The convention doesn't cover the climate adaptation issue, which are critical at the moment. Also, it's lacking the issues, the provisions on water resource management by the bordering countries. But what is also important, we expecting that the crisis of the Caspian Sea should not be considered as only the matter of regional concern. It should be the matter of global concern, as the resources of the Caspian Sea were used and still are used and will be used not only by the Caspian Sea countries. It's playing the important role for instance, for securing the energy for European countries, and even in the future, one of the projects is on green hydrogen, which is planned again in the Caspian region, and it will provide the clean energy for Europe. That's why I think it should be not regional cooperation, but also the global cooperation on the protection of the Caspian Sea is very critical at the moment.
Indeed, there are a lot of discussion going around this issue, how the problem of the Caspian Sea should be worried not only for 5 littoral states, but also for the global world. Therefore, Anel, my next question to you, what role do global platforms like Sustainability Week in the United Arab Emirates and COP29, which were held in Baku last year in November, play in fostering cross-regional cooperation and global cooperation to tackle the Caspian Sea's environmental issues?
Thank you for the question. Conference of the Parties 29 in Baku and global platforms like Sustainability Week in UAE in the UAE play a crucial role in fostering cross-regional cooperation to address environmental issues like those facing the Caspian Sea for today. And there are some points which can contribute to tackling the challenges of the Caspian Sea. The platform, they should be used properly, yeah? For example, as the Sustainability Week in the UAE, it should be like a promoting regional dialogue, a politically neutral platform where Caspian nations can engage in dialogue. The networking opportunities are very, very important also to leaders, policymakers, environmental advocates from Caspian countries. They connect with stakeholders to foster collaboration. Attracting investment and funding, because access to green financing should be considered. Sustainability Week often attracts global financial institutions and investors which are exactly interested in funding projects with strong sustainability focus, such as restoring the Caspian ecosystem or developing any renewable energy in the region. Promoting projects like Caspian countries, they do have a possibility, can use a platform to showcase specific initiatives and secure international support or co-funding. Of course, the platform should be for raising awareness, global attention, highlighting the Caspian Sea's environmental challenges on an international arena. It increases awareness and urgency to address these very important issues. Media coverage usually is very, very huge on such events, and such events like Sustainability Week will attract significant media attention, amplifying the messages about the very important problems concerning the Caspian Sea. So these are very important points, and the platform should be used properly. Sustainability Week in the UAE and similar platforms, they serve like such kind of a catalyst for cross-regional cooperation by providing the Caspian Sea bordering countries with the tools, networks, inspirations to address the environmental challenges collectively.
Vadim, the same question to you. In what ways can international platforms such as COP29 and the Sustainability Week in the UAE, help foster stronger collaborative efforts to combat the ongoing environmental degradation of the Caspian Sea?
Thank you. That's for the opportunity to address on this issue. Too, the global platforms are vital for turning the regional issues like the Caspian Sea decline into global priorities. Of course, the Sustainability Week is one of the opportunity to highlight this issue. However, the focus is a bit different. It's on renewables. And as far as I know, tomorrow there will be the summit on green hydrogen, which is also very relevant to the Caspian Sea, as I said. But the focus is a bit different about the future economic development of the Caspian region and in relation to the renewables. But what is important to find the global platforms to address the current challenges, including from pollution of the Caspian Sea and declining the level of the Caspian Sea. And Anel already mentioned that some of such platforms, like the climate change COP held in Baku last year, where it was discussed by the heads of our government, our states. And the next event was the COP on the Convention to Combat Desertification, where this issue also was addressed. Our countries, we are most suffering from the Caspian Sea pollution and decline. I think that's another important global platform could be the COP and the meetings held under the Helsinki Water Convention, UNESC Convention, because Azerbaijan, Kazakhstan, Russia, and Turkmenistan are parties to that convention. And it's also enables to engage European countries into this discussion. And I think that's the only country which is not a party to the Helsinki Convention, Iran. They still could join that convention because it's open not only for accession by UNESC countries, but at the global level. I think that we should use both the Tehran Convention as a regional platform, but also the global platform. Some of them under the international legal frameworks or the policy platforms when it could be discussed by the head of the states and the governments, and where the observers can also raise the issues on what is needed to save the Caspian Sea.
Indeed. So, dear experts, thank you very much for joining our discussion today.
Thank you.
Thank you very much. And thank you, dear viewers, for watching Headlines. Today we had two special guests joined from Kazakhstan. We had Vadim Nii, environmental lawyer and director of the Socia-Ecological Fund, initiator of the Save the Caspian Sea campaign, and also Anel Bersinbay, PhD candidate, Eurasian National University. My name is Anastasiya Lavrina. Do stay with us and see you in the next edition.